How are you using your time? Welcome to this week's Weekly Radish. This week I'm going to develop the idea of how we employ our time. I talked about productivity in a couple of previous Weekly Radish. This is more about how you are using your time. So I've got two questions for you to ask yourself at any given time to ensure that what you're doing counts and what you are engaged in is worthwhile. So the first question, is it interesting or is it useful? Now this is a great question that I found in a book called Quiet Leadership by David Rock, and it's used in a slightly different context, but I find it useful as just a simple question to just stop and ask yourself at any time, whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whatever you're doing, to just stop and ask yourself, is what I'm doing interesting or is it useful? Now, depending on the answer will depend on what you do next. Now, if it's just interesting, that's great. If it's something like you've got your downtime, you're having time out, you're spending time with somebody and you're doing something that's engaging and interesting. But when we're talking work, there's a difference here because interesting may not actually be taking you forward. It may be a distraction. It may be moving you away from useful. So interesting, great at the right time, but useful. Useful is more practical and appropriate when you need to get things done. And how often is it so easy to drift out of doing something useful, i.e. productive, i.e. chipping away at that task list, making progress on a project, through to simple distraction. I'll just check my emails again. I'm just going to surf the net. I just need to research this. And we get sucked into losing loads of time on things that are interesting but not actually moving you forward, not useful. So it depends on the situation you're in. It may be the time for interesting, it may be the time for useful. But ask yourself, is what I'm doing interesting or useful? And depending on that situation, if you are working and focused, then focus on the useful and ditch the interesting. Move away, drag yourself away from that interesting thing. The second question I got from Tim Ferriss, the author of The 4-Hour Workweek, and it's to do with taking on information. Taking on and absorbing information. We often feel we're bombarded by so much information these days. We're bombarded by reports, by emails, by policies, procedures, by all sorts of things, by research, books, how-tos, what-tos, should-dos. And actually, we can feel obliged to know it all. And what we need to ask ourselves is this question. Am I taking this information on just in case or just in time? Now, let me expand on that. Just in case means that I'm taking this information on in case I need it. I'm storing it away for a rainy day, or in case I'm asked that awkward question or put on the spot. Just in time is I'm taking this information on because I know I have a need. I have a need quite imminently, either tomorrow, next week, or even the next hour. I need to take this information in because it is needed. I know it's needed. Now, the temptation is that we fall into the trap of just in case. We feel like we need to read every email, read everything that's attached, read it all. And actually we need to ask ourselves, just as we do with the interesting versus useful, because it ties into the interesting, this might be interesting, but am I taking it on just in case? Step away from the just in case and focus more on just in time. Focus on identifying which information you need for the next hour, the next afternoon, the next day, the next whatever, and store your just in case information somewhere else, appropriately labeled so you can come back to it when it becomes just in time. And that way you're clearing your head from the clutter of all of that interesting information that may be interesting and useful in the future, but not now. So, to finish, if you need to clear the clutter out of your head of all the information, all the things you need to do, stick to two things. Stick to the useful and stick to the just in time information.
Why don't you make the Daily Sprout part of your Wellbeing 5 a day? Sign up at dailysprout.net and never miss another Daily Sprout again.